States.
Now we'll be looking at extradition of criminal suspects and how this is being handled in international jurisprudence. There's been a lot of confusion as to how this happens. Seems a complex situation, but we'll be looking at some of this issue, particularly with what is happening to Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho at the moment. Joseph, thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm sure, of course, you're aware of the arrest of. I'm sure you're aware of the arrest of Sunday Igboho in Cotonou, Benin Republic, and of course, he'll be in court this morning. And I'm also sure you're aware of the fact that Nnamdi Kanu has since been rearrested in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria. Now, some persons have said that the rearrest of Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya by the Nigerian authorities did not follow due process. Now, as a lawyer, what constitutes due process, in extradition in line with international laws?
First of all, let me say that the word arrest is a legal term which requires compliance with the law. You don't just get somebody, hold him, and now say you've arrested him. And you don't also just kidnap somebody and call that arrest. So does the repatriation of Nnamdi from Kenya to Nigeria amount to a lawful arrest and a lawful extradition of a citizen from another country? No. Extradition is also a legal term, which also has its own procedures. It applies basically in international law, in that a country will apply to another country for the return or for the surrender of a fugitive who is wanted in his home country or another country to face trial or to serve his term of conviction. Now, when we say face trial, it means he has a pending case to answer, or that he has completed his proceedings and the judge and the court have convicted him, then he jumped and he's needed to come and serve his time in prison. There are procedures to this term. If you want a fugitive back to a country to come and go through trial or face his punishment, you apply to a country or to the country where he is resident or where he is through your diplomatic mission or Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a formal procedure. You will request in writing that so-so person is wanted in so-so country for so-so reason. You will have to attach evidence of the proceedings or judgment convicting such a person. And there are also conditions that country will consider before relinquishing or returning that citizen. They will consider if the punishment is below 2 years. If the punishment is below 2 years, which is applicable for Nigeria, they will not return that person. There are issues of political exception. If the offense is political in nature, you don't return such a person because he may actually just be wanted for political reasons and simply to silence him. You don't return such a person. Also, some countries don't return people to nations where there are death punishments or death penalties. Once the offense carries a death penalty and they know that returning such a person will mean that he will be handed that penalty, they will not return you. So it's a formal procedure. The two governments will be busy at the level of diplomacy, and the courts are also involved. It is the court that will review all of those documents before ordering the extradition of such a person. In the case of Nnamdi, we saw that even his passport was not with him when they brought him back to Nigeria. They brought him back to Nigeria in a private jet. He didn't go through immigration clearance. He was abducted and thrown back to Nigeria. That is called extraordinary rendition, simply meaning a state-sponsored kidnapping. That was what happened to Nnamdi Kanu. In the case of Sunday Igboho, I am reading some different stories in the media. It seems like he's not actually going through an extradition proceeding, as he's been accused of having a passport, the Beninese passport, without being a citizen. So that is a different offense that he's being tried for. I do not know if any extradition proceeding has commenced in respect of it, but you could see also stories making the rounds that the Nigerian ambassador to Benin Republic, former chief of army staff, has been busy. So he's possibly busy trying to activate the extradition process so that they will see if Sunday Igboho can be extradited to Nigeria. But still, all of these things will be considered. Is he a politically wanted person? What offense has he committed? Has he been facing trial in Nigeria? Has he been convicted? Is he a person that falls within returnable people? Because there's also that requirement. You must fall within the category of returnable people, which one of the considerations is whether he's a politically exposed person and he's just wanted because of his political views.
All right.
So extradition is not that simple.
Okay.
That's simple.
Okay.
And,
if in the case
really,
of the IPOB
worries
leader,
me
can you hear me?
Nigeria will claim to have arrested Nnamdi Kanu when there is no such evidence. The stories we're hearing is that he was accused of being an Al-Shabaab sympathizer, thereabout, by people in Kenya who arrested him, and then later was smuggled into Nigeria. So these are issues that I'm sure the UK government, because at the time of his abduction, he was carrying a UK passport, which I understand the British government have traced back to Kenya. So he came into Nigeria without a passport. His
all right,
Nigerian passport
Mr. Ono, please hang on. Let's follow up on that
British
your
passport
statement.
was left in Kenya.
You said
so how
IPOB
did he
leader
clear
Nnamdi
immigration?
Kanu was not properly, or due process was not followed in bringing him back, that he was abducted, or you said smuggled into the country. One would begin to wonder, how exactly did that happen? Kenya is a sovereign state, and Nigeria is a sovereign state. If Nigeria did not push for the extradition, and then the country allowed him to come, even though we've seen some denials from the Kenyan government as well, saying they don't have any hand in that. So how exactly could that have been possible?
Well, Kenya is just exercising what is known as plausible deniability. They know what happened. If they don't know what happened in their country, then they are incompetent. They shouldn't be called a country. If somebody can be picked up in your country, a jet flown out of your country, and you claim you do not know, it shows how porous your country has become. Maybe that's why Al-Shabaab are having a free reign in that country. The truth is, the Kenyan government must have been involved in one way or the other, but did not follow procedure. You know the thing with Africa, they may simply just say, our brother country now, the president in Nigeria is our president's friend, but just help him and just throw this criminal back. And it's not as if Nigeria have not tried this before. The same president, when he was military head of state, have tried it in the UK. You know the consequences of that. When he created Umaru Dikko, Nigeria and UK diplomatic relationship was cut off for 3 years, and people went to prison. I'm sure that is why they couldn't try picking up Nnamdi Kanu from the UK, because the consequences will be different. Now, what will Kenya do to Nigeria? If they cut off diplomatic relations with Nigeria, what effect would that have?
All right, Mr. Onu, there are... Mr. Onu, a moment, Mr. Onu. There are, several conventions, that, address the procedures for extradition, particularly on the African continent. We have here in West Africa the ECOWAS Convention, and we also have the African Charter on Human and People's Rights, which says in Section 12, subsection 4, that a non-national legally admitted in the territory of a state party to the present charter may only be expelled from it by virtue of a decision taken in accordance with the law. Mr. Kanu, what's the implication of violating this convention?
Well, you see, the thing about international law is that it just dents a nation's image and strains relationship with other countries. It's not as if a country will be put on trial. It's still going to be resolved diplomatically. Either you sanction or there are people you can arrest. If Kenya is serious about what happened in their country, they should be arresting their own citizens who were involved and punishing them, and then be expelling Nigerian diplomatic mission in Kenya. That is what you can do. Now, like I said, that extradition is a legal process. It involves the court. It is the court that will determine whether a person is qualified under the laws and under the international laws to be returned to a requesting nation. Mind you, it is not only a country where you are a citizen that can request your extradition. Look at the Assange case in the UK. US requested his extradition. His country requested his extradition, and he was hiding in the UK in an embassy of Ecuador. The same case with the Snowden, who ran to Russia. US requested his extradition, but the Russian government did not find the grounds given valid enough to return him, because politics was involved, international politics was involved, and it's still in Russia. And as a policy, US, for example, do not extradite their own citizens who are being requested by other countries for trial. You look at the case ongoing between the UK and the US, where a diplomat knocked down someone in the UK and he died, and she quickly ran back to US. The UK and the US have been working on that for a long time. Now imagine that the UK government will now deploy their MI6 to go to US and kidnap that woman and bring her back to the UK. Just imagine the diplomatic row that will cause between these two countries. It is a judicial process, and there is no evidence that Nnamdi was given any of such privileges or rights. He was not subjected to any legal proceeding or judicial proceeding. He was arrested, he was kidnapped and smuggled out of Kenya to Nigeria. That is a disgraceful act, and for which I expect the Kenyan government to take action, for which I also expect Commonwealth as an organization, the entire Commonwealth, to condemn, because there is also a Commonwealth Convention on Extradition, which binds Nigeria and Kenya and all other Commonwealth nations. If one member can so brazenly be in breach of such a convention, it becomes a source of concern and worry for other members. If we can do this in Kenya, it means we can do it in many other countries. Who knows how many people have been kidnapping and returning to Nigeria in such illegal ways. So it is a disgraceful act. It is an act that is condemnable, and I'm sure the British government will protect their own citizen, because Nnamdi is their citizen. As at the time he was kidnapped, it was a British citizen that was kidnapped, not truly a Nigerian. So
yeah, but Mr. Kanu,
even
would
people who are in
that
Nigeria,
breach, would that breach of due process in that extradition, what you call smuggling to Nigeria, would it have any impact, in the trial that Mr. Kanu is going on with now? Would it have any impact at all? It's an international convention, and you said the countries are not even binded by it anyway.
I didn't get that, please.
I said the fact that that due process was not followed in extraditing Mr. Kanu to the country. Do you think in this trial, if he brings up that issue, it's something that will be impactful in the decision that the court will make in this case?
Well, the court in Nigeria has no business with the diplomatic blunder that the government have been. The court wants Nnamdi to face his trial, which is ongoing. So they will just continue their proceedings, not minding how he was brought in to the court. As long as he's before the court, the proceeding will continue. However, the diplomatic angle of it, it is the diplomatic angle of it that will be a minus to Nigeria. The government knows that as long as they get him in, he will face his trial. They know that. But you see, now you have complicated the matter because you have now involved Britain in this trial. You've now involved Kenya, even though they're hiding their head in the sand in this trial. The British government will require from Kenya some explanations. And they will also require from Nigeria some explanations. And you can be sure that there will be consequences, diplomatic consequences that will follow. So these are the consequences that will follow even as the trial proceeds. The British government may ask and request that he be returned to the UK. And if he's needed in Nigeria, a formal application or request should be made. That is justifiable. They can insist on that because he's their citizen. You cannot abduct their citizen. You can't go and kidnap him in another country simply because you want to try him. And like I said, there are political exceptions to extradition. Nnamdi Kanu's case is 99.9% political. It's 99.9% political.
All right,
I have not seen any terrorist
Mr.
activity that he has been involved in. He has not shut down any plane.
Reports
I have not seen him shut down any plane.
Reports
and I
this
don't
morning.
think people in the East, where he operates, live in fear. Because at the heart of the definition of terrorism is that you must put fear at the heart of the people. People must live in fear that you're going to attack them. I do not think that he's a terrorist, right? Maybe he's terrorizing the government, but there is no definition of terrorism that say when you terrorize the government. You terrorize
but it's a proscribed group. It's a proscribed group. IPOB is a proscribed group in Nigeria. To that extent,
anybody except people who don't agree with him or his way of doing things, well, they may have reason for concerns, which is quite normal, and it is their right to be to disagree with him or to be concerned about his modus operandi or his utterances. But to say terrorists, this, that, I think these are excuses that state use, brand you criminal in order to silence you.
All right.
These are things that would have been argued in the Kenyan court.
Mr. Ono, just as
the Kenyan judge will be left to determine whether Nnamdi Kanu is indeed a terrorist or not, and whether he falls within the category of returnable people, and then a decision will be made.
All right.
Maybe the government knows that if they go through the formal procedure, they would not succeed. So they went through the back door.
Mr. Ono, we have reports this morning that the federal government, is yet to file extradition charges in the case of Sunday Igboho. Just as we wind down, what do you make of this seeming reluctance by the Nigerian authorities to file these extradition charges? Does it show or does it give an impression that the Nigerian authorities are no longer interested in bringing back Sunday Igboho, whose house was attacked much earlier in the month, precisely on the 1st of July, by operatives of the DSS?
Well, like I said earlier, from available information, Sunday was facing a trial for possessing Benin Republic passport with which he wanted to travel to Germany while not being a citizen of that country. That is the offense he's presently being tried for in a Benin Republic court. Now, the application for extradition is not an easy thing to do. You don't expect the government within a day or two to come up with such an application. They must have a convincing reason. They must sit down, plan it, assess their chances. You don't want to put up something that will be also embarrassing to the government. So I'm sure that before Sunday will complete or go through his trial, an application for his extradition would have been made. But also, like I said, has Sunday been declared wanted in Nigeria formally? No. Is he facing any trial in Nigeria?
The DSS said he's on the wanted list, Mr. Onu.
Has he been convicted by any court in Nigeria? No. So on what ground do you want to extradite him? The way our security agencies also operate is a cause for worry. They invaded his house without any invitation for investigation or without declaring him wanted. The man is simply running for his life.
The DSS had declared him wanted, Mr. Onu.
So you cannot tell
probably based on that. That's why he's running.
An armed attack to stay in his house and be killed. And you can't tell another country to bring him back so you can kill him. There's no evidence that Sunday is wanted in Nigeria. There's no evidence that he's undergoing any criminal trial or even investigation in Nigeria. You can't just wake up and say, extradite somebody who is traveling. In Benin Republic, Sunday might have committed an offense, which he will serve out in that country. If they find him guilty, he will go to jail in that country, not in Nigeria. But to say extradite him, I do not think that there is any rationale for that.
All right, Mr. Onu, does agitation for self-determination amount to a criminal
prosecution? Then he ran away because the military also invaded his house to kill him. So he ran away. And he explained to the court why he ran away. That is also a justifiable ground for running. If you no longer feel safe where you are, that you'll be killed, is even a ground for other countries granting you asylum. So the government need to get organized, need to get their acts together and stop acting like rogue agencies. They shouldn't be doing that. There are procedures. People are right. If you feel somebody is a criminal and you want to arrest him, you want to invite him formally. Have your records. When you invite him, he refuses to come, then you can proceed to go and invade his place and arrest him. You don't go to people's house in the dead of night that you want to arrest them. What if they don't know who is invading their house and they return fire and kill your operatives? Tomorrow you now say the person have killed a security agent. Meanwhile, you invaded his property, which you have no right to do unless a court even grants you such permission to invade somebody's house.
Mr. Onu, my colleague asked earlier that does agitation for self-determination, does it actually, amount to a criminal offense? Could you enlighten us on that?
I have said this time without number that I hear these words used by security agencies and even the media sometimes use this salaciously as if is a big offense. The Igbo separatist group, IPOB, secessionist group, IPOB. All of these words are mere English languages. They are words. They do not constitute any offense under our law. To be a secessionist is not an offense. To be a separatist is not an offense. All of these words simply connote a movement for self-determination, which is recognized even under our laws because we are signatories to all of these international conventions.